You're listening to the DSW podcast with James Ledger.
Right, so welcome back to the Disabilities Foot Wales podcast with me, James Ledger. What a show we have today. We're going to be discussing all things Commonwealth Games and what a games it was. My guest today is a legend of parasport, and he's the newly crowned Commonwealth Games champion. My guest is Aled Sion Davies. How you doing, Al?
Hi, mate. How are you? Thank you for that kind introduction.
Hey, mate, it's so true. You're an absolute legend of the game, and I'm so excited to have you on the show.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure.
Awesome, mate. So for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Aled Sion Davies. I'm a para athlete competing in the F42, F63 category in discus and shot put.
Amazing. So, Al, for those who don't know, you are now the Paralympic, World, European, and now Commonwealth Games champion. What a career, eh?
Hey, it sounds surreal just when you list them out like that, but it's not many people get to be a part of like that prestigious club, and I've only lost one competition. I say lost. I've only not won gold then, let's say, since 2012, and that was my first Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. And I always remember how gutted I was because I wanted to be that athlete that is the reigning para world hero, holding all the titles, and the Commonwealth being such a special one, being Welsh and that opportunity representing Wales in an integrated team is always a special opportunity. So to finally complete the set, I'm buzzing. I've achieved everything I want, and I can actually say I've won everything now.
Now, let's go back 10 years. That special night, London 2012. What a games it was. It's been a whirlwind 10 years for yourself. Like, how has life changed for you?
Yeah, I mean, 2012 was so unexpected. I came into the sport, para athletics, just after Athens 2004. I remember watching friends going to Beijing in 2008, and I just missed out. And I remember seeing crowds and the atmosphere. I thought that's pretty special. I ain't seen anything like that. I then burst onto the senior kind of scene in 2009, 2010, going around taking some scalps, and got my first call up in 2011 to the World Champs. I think I was actually announced after the team. I wasn't in like the first round. It was kind of like so I think someone got injured and I got called up to an extent. But yeah, I went out to New Zealand. Didn't know what to expect. My first IBC World Champs, but again, great experience competing against the best in the world. But there was no one there. It was the only supporters we had, and the atmosphere was the athletes that weren't competing that day. So going into 2012, I had no expectation. I remember watching the Olympics on the TV because we were based out in Portugal beforehand with Nathan Stevens, and just seeing the atmosphere and thinking, oh, I reckon the Paralympics would be like that. We're like, no chance. Only to fly in, to be swarmed by fans, media. And I'll always remember watching that first morning session in athletics, it being sold out with almost 80,000. I could not believe what I was witnessing, because that catapulted para sport about 20 years forward. And that's something I can look at now and appreciate, but at the time I really couldn't. The amount of things 2012 did for para sport was incredible. But yeah, for me, going in on the 31st of August to the shot put, my secondary event at the time, I think I was ranked 8th or 9th in the world. So for me, it was just to try and place higher than I was ranked. To find myself in 4th position in the 5th round, then nab the bronze medal in the 6th round was an absolute dream come true. I not only achieved my goal of wanting to make a games, I made a home games in London, but I'd also taken a medal. And I remember going back to the village and being like so excited but so sad at the same time, because I was like, I just want to get back out there. Like, you don't realize like how addictive it is being out there in front of this crowd, having this huge stage, this opportunity to show everyone what you've got. And lucky enough, I had that opportunity 2 days later in the discus. So for me, it was I couldn't wait to get back out there, and I also had nothing to lose. I was fearless. And I also knew that I could take another medal. What colour that would be, we didn't know. I suppose I was too inexperienced and young to be labelled as a championship performer back then. But I came out first round, set the tone, took the lead, held on to it to like the last round. And in throwing, when it gets to the last round, you go in reverse order. So whoever's last will go first. And I was leading the competition in the 6th round. And I remember just going through, people were like, okay, I'm in the top 5, I'm in the top 4. Oh, I'm guaranteed a medal here. And I was like, oh God, it's going to be silver or gold. Then it got to Farzad, who was the only guy, Zadeh, the Iranian, the only guy that could actually take gold off me. And I've never heard 80,000 people just go absolutely dead silent. He came round, he hit one, and we were all throwing so close. It's 10 meters, isn't it? So it was like a cluster of where everyone's landed, and it landed in the centre of that. He's screaming, he's shouting, because it was his 4th lifetime best. Everyone was crying. I couldn't even look. I was just waiting for the scoreboard to come up, and there was obviously a delay because the distance came up and the whole stadium erupted and screams and cheers. I was kind of trying to figure out, well, is he not done it? Have I won? And then I see the distance and he hasn't done it. And I was like, oh my God, I've won the Paralympic Games. Like the dream I had of growing up, I've just done it. And I'm running over to Anthony Hughes, my coach at the time, and I was just like, what is going on? What is going on? And he was like, you got one more throw, go in there. And I was like, don't worry. And he's like, just go in and enjoy it. And I thought, you know what? I'm a rock star now. I'm loving this. And the whole crowd's cheering for me. I remember going in, coming around, absolutely belting it and breaking the European record. It was, and I mean, you look back at the footage, I just run across the grass, run in front of the crowd, laughing it all up. It was.
There's a bit of speed there, I saw, actually.
Yeah, I know. I'll give you a solid 30, mate. I'll give up after that. I'll give you a solid. But yeah, it was just kind of like just embracing that atmosphere. And it was special because we were changing perception. No one cared about disability, times, distances, heights. It was more the fact that they saw people on a level playing field being competitive at a high standard, just athletes trying to be the best they can. And I think that changed a lot. And I think everyone always asked me, what was the legacy of 2012? And, there was so many, but for me, it was just seeing young children around the Olympic Park in like shorts and stuff, thinking like I didn't wear a pair of shorts till I was like 16 because I didn't want to show my leg. So it was like it's stuff like that for me that was like, oh wow, these children are now just embracing their disabilities, and I think that, in my opinion, was the legacy of that.
For sure, Dan, that's a great point. Mate, you've given me a little bit of goosebumps there talking about that. That's what unforgettable moments, unforgettable memories for yourself and your family and your team around you. Talk a little bit about your disability, what it is, and kind of how that affects you.
Yeah. So I compete in the F42, F63 category. It used to just be one category, F42, and that was people with a disability that are affected through the knee or above the knee, or amputations through the knee or above the knee. So they split it. So the amputees are now in the 60s. So amputee will be a 63, and I'm 42 because I have the leg, but it's affected from the hip down. I was born with a disability called hemiplegia. So when I was born, my leg was not developed, and it was kind of curled around my back and up around my neck towards us. So what they had to do, they had to break it in 17 places. And I had just 16, 17 years of manual leg growth and Lazaro frame because I didn't have a foot. And I had lots of plates put in. I had bone taken from my hip to create the lower half of my leg. In today's day and age, because technology is so good, they pretty much amputate it from birth. But obviously back in the early 90s, I know it doesn't seem that long ago, but the technology wasn't nowhere near as good as it is now. So my option for my mum and dad was, well, it might be brutal, but if we can hang on to it, make it work, then let's see what happens. So I had all the leg lengthening, and I've managed to keep my leg, but unfortunately it has got knock-on effects causing me slight because I got a slant in my pelvis, got curves to the spine. So longevity and health, one day I might have to have further operations, but yeah, that's a quick synopsis of my disability.
And it is incredible to watch because, you know, for those of you who watch athletics, like shot and discus is very much a kind of rotational movement, isn't it? So, you know, to do that with the disabilities is incredible how you've adapted your body to throw how far you have, you know.
But that actually is a very interesting point you raised, because I remember going to my first classification and I was told that I'd never be able to spin. I just didn't have the stability. But I have great sponsors like Orthotics who basically, I told them, look, is there any way you can make something that locks my leg in? I'm not going to give away my secrets, but locks my leg in this certain degree angle, because this is literally this is my pivotal point. This is the point I want to work around. This is what I need my leg to do, but I can't do it. So I need something else that's going to help me do it. And you know, it took years. And I mean, you know, even now we're still fine tuning it. You know, so you're talking 10 years on. It's taken a long time. I think it was 2010 or 2009. 2008. I got my first leg brace, and I've had 6 different ones or 7 different ones since, because we've adapted and I've grown as an athlete as well. So you know, it was for me learning to spin, because there was no one in my category that did it. It was a must. I thought, you know what? I know I'm not the biggest. I know I'm not the most genetically gifted, but I'm fast. And if I can put that speed into the ring, into a technique, I know I'll throw a lot further than anyone has done. You know, so it's been something that we've worked at, me and my team. You know, and Ryan Spencer Jones, my current coach, has just, you know, helped me take it to the next level. Now it's, you know, we've also inspired others in the category, because there's about six young lads now who are similar to me, coming through, very technical spinning. So we were a part of evolving it and taking things to the next level, which, you know, is I suppose what everyone should aspire to be in parasport. They're almost like a pioneer within your event. A lot of trials and errors, but the spinning element is what's helped me take it to the next level, because I've adopted that technique in both, and I'm starting to execute it very well.
I mean, you certainly have, and because of this year, you know, you are now, I know this is the one you want to admit, you know, we've been friends for a long time, and I know, you know, Glasgow 2014, it was the silver then, but I know how much you wanted it, how much of a proud Welshman you are. Yeah. And now, you know, Birmingham 2022, you're now the Commonwealth Games champion. Now, how does that feel?
Well, you know, it's been one hell of a journey. And I think coming off 2012, I was like, right, I need to show everyone that it's not just a one-off. So we went to the World Champs next year, we won that. And the European Champs won that. And it was like 2014 came along, right, there's one left, and then we've won everything. Yeah, we've won everything once. You know? And 2014, I always say, was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, I underestimated, first of all, my opponent within Dan Greaves, who was by far a superior athlete at that time, absolutely phenomenal thrower, and I underestimated him. You know, I thought I could just walk in there and give him a good run for his money and take us off getting that gold. Learned that the hard way. You know, I always say it's the best thing that happened to me, because it made me realize that I wasn't the best version of myself. I always remember coming around in that 3rd round in Glasgow, and I hit the throw, and I screamed and look around, and there's a picture where I've got my hands up, because I'm like, yes, there it is. And it lands at like 45 or 46 meters. And that makes me think, wow, okay, that's everything I've got. I connected with that. So it went from, instead of dominating and controlling the outcome, to thinking, right, I hope nobody throws further than that. And that kind of feeling just resonated with me for years, knowing that, right, I wasn't the best I could be. I can't control this outcome. You know, if I'd gone there and thrown personal best and felt good, and come 3rd or 4th even, I would have been happy. I think when you get these opportunities to be on the big stage and you're not the best version of yourself, when you've got that opportunity to show everyone what you've got, you're only letting yourself down. So, you know, it was one of the best losses I had, because it made me reevaluate, step back, think, right, how do I make sure that I never feel like this again? You know, and every morning, you know, as much as I hated looking at a silver medal, I made sure I did. You know, there were some dark days in that winter going into 2015, 2016, where I was looking at that going, you never want to feel like this again. So for me, like, it was just, right, work hard. And obviously it worked out for the best, because I made a lot of changes, got a good team around me, went on to win 7 world titles, 3 Paralympic golds now. And then, of course, the one that I never thought I'd get my hands on again, because, for people who don't know, the Commonwealth Games, it's only started being integrated probably since 2010, 2014. So when I was in 2014 Glasgow, there was probably 3 or 4 para events. And I mean, you were in Gold Coast. So, like there was more and more events going in, but the home nations kind of play to their strengths, as you would, you'd want to put in something that and there's like a million para events. So like the home nations always think, if we've got a medal, we'll stick one of our guys in there. So there was no Southern Hemisphere kind of guys in my event at the time. So I thought that this opportunity was going to be the one that got away. And for me, after 2012 as well, they reshuffled the program and sole focus went on shot put. So I spent 7-8 years just doing shot, and I saw that this opportunity was on the horizon of throwing discus at the Commonwealth Games in 2022, back in 2020 actually, or 2019 even. But obviously we had that massive span in the works, COVID, which everyone thoroughly enjoyed, and knocked everything on. So for me, that kind of got put in the back burner. I literally was just focusing on trying to be self-sufficient and somehow win gold at the Paralympics in Tokyo from my back garden, which every athlete was kind of doing at the time. But we did that job, and then it was like, right, I'm not really like this, but we've got 10 months to switch event, shift a few kgs, and get a bit more strength specific in another event within discus. So, I think I've seen a different side of myself this last winter. Like I've managed to find another gear, and I'm pushing myself harder than ever. Like I'm stronger and I'm quicker than I've ever thought I could be. Technically, I'm still improving, and there's still gains to be made. I've come out this year and I've thrown 56.21, which is further than most of the category above as well. So to be one of the furthest Paralympic discus throwers of all time, and obviously eclipse my world record, it gave me great confidence going into the Commonwealth Games that I was in a place that, even though, I might not be firing at all cylinders, I could probably do well here, just because of all the hard work I did. And, because I was chasing that world record, going 54, 55, 56 meters going to the Commie Games, I did get a bit overloaded because we just did so much work in so little time. So I did pick up this little problem in my pelvis, which we tried to manage. I lost a lot of stretch reflex. And it got worse as towards the games, and I was just like, typical, and like in the shape of my life, I get this little niggle last hurdle. It's always the case, but if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? So I managed that. Luckily, I had Adam Rattenbury, Ollie, and good people around me within Team Wales that were just making sure I stayed on that straight and narrow. We kind of worked what we got with, and held it together. And it was, I can say now, my worst performance of the year by far. But when it comes to championship performing, it really doesn't matter. No one's going to remember the time, no one's going to remember the distance, no one's going to remember the height. It's all about those positions. And for me, it was making sure I came home. We wanted to go in there round one and set the tone and put the competition to bed. And we did that. And then we built on it and pushed it away from everyone else. And obviously it was a really special moment then that I could sit back and I think, I've got this. Let's just make sure we get Harrison on that podium and see 2 Welsh flags up there now.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned Harrison, and overall, Team Wales, 28 medals overall, and a fantastic representation from para-athletes, wasn't it? Yourself.
I mean, I might be biased. I'm sorry. I might be biased, but I think it's really important to highlight that as an athletics team, we came away with the medals all on the para-athletics side, which shows, how much of a force our para-athletes are here in Wales. People like yourself as well. We're such big, we're a big contingency of that British team. So, I've got to take my hats off to all those para guys for Wales that are just absolutely smashing it.
For sure. And I think, it's people and athletes like yourself, mate, who inspire everyone like myself back home here in Wales to be the best that we can be and to punch well above our weight. We got James Ball in the paracycling, even new athletes like Lily Rice winning a bronze in swimming. You know, it's what you guys are doing, leading from the front, that kind of brings us all on to inspire us to be like you, you know, and to be the best we can be.
Well, thank you very much, mate. It means a lot. It really does. I mean, it's not something that I set out to do, you know, inspire or whatnot. It's obviously a very humbling thing when people say you've been part of that. But you know, I look back at previous games where I've been the only kind of para athlete in the team. You know, and even in just ambulance throws, we have 3 para athletes at this games. 2 on the side that were almost, you know, qualified as well. So, you know, they know that we have the strength and depth, and it's great to, you know, see people like James Ball as well, who I've grown up with. You know, he's been putting in a shift for a long time, you know, always the bridesmaid, as he would say, and then he just finally comes through and shows like everyone how it's done. And I was just so proud about that. Like, the guy's an absolute beast, and of course you've got emerging stars like Lily, which is exciting because they're the future, right? They're the people that are going to come through and let me hang up my shoes and call it a day. That's what I'm hoping. Like, I'm hoping that, you know, when I'm done, there is several athletes in Wales that are bringing home Paralympic gold medals and are doing what, you know, what we are kind of doing for them. So, you know, it's incredible to see the hunger within Welsh athletes. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but even athletes like yourself, and how much, you know, I can see how much you've wanted, how hard you've worked over the years. And even though you've had barriers come up and things arise that is enough to make everyone go, I'm done, you know, this is not for me, you've still managed to find a way to come through. And that perseverance and resilience is inspiring to me as well. Do you know what I mean? I want to be, I'm like, look at these guys, they ain't giving up, and you're at the top of your game, so you got to keep pushing too. So it's awesome. We got a great kind of, there's something in the water here in Wales.
For sure. Yeah, no, it can't be that Welsh water. And you can also beat is that Welsh national anthem. You know, standing on, you stood on that podium a lot, many a times, and you know, to stand up there alongside another Swansea boy, Swansea Jack, Harrison Walsh. How was it to stand on that podium and hear that national anthem?
Oh, I think growing up, you know, unfortunately, it was always rugby, right? We always watched rugby. I know it's more like rugby and football these days because those guys have taken off, but I always remember watching rugby growing up and seeing the boys at the start come together and sing that national anthem. I thought, how amazing would it be to sing Him, Love and Hard Light on a podium one day? It was one of those childhood things I always sort of dreamt about, always wanted. Never thought I'd see it, but oh, I tell you what, it's the first thing I thought about as soon as I won. And we were quite lucky because we won on we did our job like on the Wednesday night, but I'm pretty sure the medal ceremony was the start of the Thursday night session. So we had a full 24 hours almost to digest what had happened, soak in the glory, and then go back out into the stage and receive a medal. But it was insane. Like, even though it was in Birmingham, it felt like a home chance for the amount of Welsh flags there, and there was support galore. But I remember being in the tunnel before we went out, and I turned to H, and you know, me and Harrison, we have great like banter. We get along so well, and even though, you know, we compete against each other, you know, we're like brothers out there, and you know, we're not going to probably get the opportunity to compete against each other again. So it's good that we can actually support each other. And I remember saying, mate, I am belting this out. I am screaming this out at the top of my lungs. I don't care how it sounds. If I sound drunk, like I should be on Caroline Street at 4 a.m, I don't even care. I was like, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing it with you. And obviously we stood up, we get the ceremony. Helen Phillips gives us the medal, which is obviously incredible as well. And then we turn, and the flags are going up, and it's just like, bye! I just literally belting it out. It was, oh, what a special moment. But to see everyone there with their Welsh flags joining in as well, it's something I'm going to cherish forever. It's going to live with me forever because such a patriotic Welshman, proud of my heritage. Wales is so close to my heart. And I felt like I owed this to Wales, to be honest, after everything he's given me over the last 10, 12 years.
Mate, and Wales is proud of you. I'm proud of you. You know, everyone at Disability Sport Wales is extremely proud of what what you've done, not just this year, but your whole career. I guess my final question for you is, what advice would you give to the next generation who maybe just started their journey?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. Like I say, I don't really aim to inspire, but if I can show people that there is a pathway and there is a life and the benefits of sport and how it can be applied to different kind of sectors, then we're on to a winner. But I think for me, I was always afraid to disappoint. I was always afraid to lose. And when my attitude changed to being the best version of myself, it was all about kind of making sure that I didn't worry about the competition and the people I was going against. It was always like, well, you can only control what you do. You can't control what other people do. So, and I apply that when it comes to competition as well. I make sure that I just execute what I can do and I focus on myself when it comes to training. But I think the biggest bit of advice I could give the next generation is, and I just because I've been guilty of it, it's just never let a win go to your head or like a loss to your heart, because it's easy to beat yourself up when things don't go to plan. But it's also easy to get carried away when they do go to plan. So it's important to remain in touch, humble with your team. That you always have aspirations and targets and things to work towards. I just think it's important to enjoy it. It goes so fast. We're here talking about 10 years ago, and I feel like yesterday me and you were on a bus going to like the DSE juniors in Blackpool or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy how quick time goes, and it's so special. And you get to do so many great things, travel in the world, meet incredible people, work with incredible people, meet people with disabilities you never even thought existed that can do things. I remember the first time I met a double arm amputee, watching them eat their food with cutlery with their feet. Like, it's little things like that. I was just like, wow, this is incredible. Like, it gives you a bit of perception and makes you realize that you're very lucky in this life. So yeah, for me, it would be, don't let a win go to your head and a loss to your heart.
Beautifully said, mate. No, well, thank you so much for joining us on the show, Al. It's been a fantastic insight into you and your success and your incredible achievements. So, on behalf of myself at Disability Sport Wales, and I wish you all the luck for whatever's next for Aled Sion Davies. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, mate. And thank you to yourself and everyone at DSW over the years and their support and the great work that they keep doing, because it's crucial. It really is. So thank you so much. And hopefully I can continue to bring you back some shiny medals.
Thanks so much, mate. And thank you for those listening and watching. What an incredible episode. I hope you all enjoyed. And I'll see you on the next Disability Sport Wales podcast.
Hi, I'm Aled Sion Davies, and you're listening to the Disability Sport Wales podcast.